It's your girl Java, and I'm back with another cooking video for you. So I'm gonna cook a pot roast in my crock pot. I have a beef chuck roast, as you can see right here. I'm just showing you guys how it looks. I do not recall the size and weight of the meat because I threw the packaging away, didn't pay attention. So now for the dry seasonings, I have some Celery seasoned salt, some Lori's garlic powder with parsley. It's almost out, but why not still use it? And then I have some McCormick garlic powder with parsley as well. Still get the job done. I have some Louisiana Cajun Seasoning, Spice Classic onion powder, Full Circle Market organic thyme leaves, black pepper, and some Heinz Worcestershire sauce. Y'all correct me. Y'all say it for me. Okay, so I know I said dry ingredients, but I'm actually going to start with the Worcestershire sauce and shake it up before using it. And now I'm just pouring it all over the beef chuck roast. You kind of want to drench it, but don't drown it. And of course, you put it on both sides, just like how you season both sides of the meat, but we're going to do that later. Okay, so starting with the dry seasonings, I'm going to use the seasoned salt, and I'm just going to distribute that all on top of the first side of the meat. And then I'm going to move on to the next dry seasoning, which is some garlic powder with parsley. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, that this first container was running out, so I'm going to move on to the next one. So that'll be the next clip. So you'll see me applying some more garlic powder, which is from the new bottle. And I'm just doing the same thing, going over what I've already done. And you can always add more of all of these seasonings to your liking, however much you desire. And now I'm going to use some of the Louisiana Cajun seasoning. And this is optional. If you want to use a different spice or whatever, go ahead. Now I have some onion powder, and I'm just going to put some of the onion powder. I'm also going to be adding raw onions to this as well. So you can put however much onion powder you like if you're an onion fan. Now I'm going to be adding black pepper. Y'all don't mind the camera shaking. I was holding my phone while seasoning the meat, cooking, so y'all know how that go. Okay, so the first side is done. Now I'm going to flip it and repeat the same steps. And I'm also going to be adding my thyme as well. I know I didn't add it to the first side, but you'll see that once I'm done seasoning the meat. So as you can see, starting with the Worcestershire sauce again, and I'm just doing the same thing. So I'm applying that onto the other side of the meat, and then I'm going to go with the seasoned salt. And then I'm going to add some more garlic powder with parsley. You don't have to use garlic powder with parsley. You can use just regular garlic powder if you like. And then I have some more onion powder that I'm going to apply. I'm also going to add more black pepper. And now I'm going to add some thyme leaves. I'm going to add it to both sides because I forgot to put it on the first side. So I'm just showing you guys that. Now I'm just going to massage the meat and massage the seasonings in. Make sure it gets all on the rim, the outside of the meat as well. Pick some of that seasoning up off the bottom and pack it on, massage it in, all that good stuff. So this is how it's looking. So now I have a bunch of potatoes. I have some small potatoes that I cut up, and I'm gonna get ready to put them inside the crock pot, as you can see. And then I have the celery. I chopped up some celery into like an inch and a half and poured it in there as well. I also have some baby carrots. You don't have to use baby carrots, you can use regular carrots, but this is what I had, and I added it to the crock pot, and this is what it's looking like so far. It looks so good already. I also added one chopped onion. I kind of diced a little bit of it, but most of it is just regular chopped, and I added that as well. Alright, so moving on, we're almost done. So we have to add the beef stock. So I have some beef stock here, and I'm going to add that over everything that I put into the crock pot. And I'm going to make sure that I try to cover as much as I could, even if I use the whole box up. But as you put the lid on and as it cooks and steams and everything, it's going to soften up anyway. So it's okay if you don't cover up every single piece of food up in there. It's going to get soft. It's going to get tender. You just have to keep stirring it as you're checking on the food. So every time you check the food, you want to stir it a bit and make sure that each piece gets some time inside the liquid. Now, I'm gonna have everything listed in my description box for y'all so y'all can see everything there, just in case y'all kind of forgot or whatever. Y'all can check in my description box. I'll have the temperature, the time, all that good stuff. So as you saw when I took off the lid just now, you can see that everything isn't tender just yet. It's only been like a couple of hours. Now this time when I took the lid off, right now, this one, it's been like about a good 4 or 5 hours. Everything's starting to get a little bit more tender and cook a little bit more. I'm just trying to get everything submerged into the juices. And as I mentioned not too long ago, this is very vital because you want to make sure that each piece of food is tender. I mean, because you don't want to serve nobody no undercooked pot roast, right? Like, you want everything to be nice and tender, the meat, the vegetables, everything. And you want it to taste good, so you want to season it well because it don't hurt to season it with love. I know y'all see that steam coming from the lid. You know this food is cooking, sizzling, all of that. So I'm about to remove the lid and I'm going to check on it. And I'm also going to add another ingredient, the last ingredient, which is some chopped garlic. I'm using some chopped raw garlic to add last for like the last few hours. I usually add it in the beginning, like when I put everything else up in there, but this time I decided to do it a little bit different and add it last towards the end. So that's what I'm doing. And as you saw throughout the video, while it's cooking, I'm just making sure that everything gets a chance to be under the juices for a while. Like I said, to keep up the tenderness, to make sure everything is tender. But don't forget, keep in mind that as you put the lid on and as it steams up and everything, it's going to also help aid with everything getting nice and tender. But it's still good to submerge everything, when you get the chance. I didn't really talk about the meat at the bottom of the crock pot cooking, but it's cooking very well if you don't mess with it. I mean, every now and then you can kind of like look at it, but you really don't want to bother it too much because you want it to stay together as best as possible as the seasonings and the marinade and everything else just cooks into it. So now with this right here, I just took the lid off. It's been about a good 8 hours. So I'm just checking on it, and I would stop it here, but I do like to cook it for a little bit longer than 8 hours, especially depending on how big the chuck roast is. You don't want to undercook it, but you don't want it to be burnt. On the other hand, I do like for mine to be a little bit dark. Like, I like a little crust, not burnt. Like this right here, this is pretty good. This is perfect. I can really do well with this right here, but I'm gonna add another hour because I want it just a tad bit darker, a tad bit. So I'm just gonna add another hour. And also keep in mind that, of course, when you stop the time for cooking, when you turn off your crock pot, the excess heat that's in there, it's going to continue to kind of cook it some more. So you kind of want to, be mindful of that. Okay, so I know you guys also watched me just check everything in the crock pot. Everything looks and feels so tender. I cannot wait to eat this food. So like I said, I'm adding a little bit more time. And also, as I mentioned, don't forget to check the description box below so you can see everything that I've used, the timing, all that. All right, y'all, so bon appetit. It looks and smells amazing, and I zoomed in for you guys so you guys can get a nice close up. It looks so delicious, smells so delicious. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, y'all.